Right. Well, you're talking about a job working for somebody else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had my own things to say.
Yeah.
I had enough.
Yeah.
I was a
Ready? Okay, it is 6 o'clock, and I will call to order the Plainfield Charter Township Board meeting for July 14th, 2025. We will begin our meeting with invocation and pledge led by Jack.
Shall we pray? Gracious and loving God, we thank you for the opportunity to gather here today in the service of our community. Grant us wisdom in our decisions, patience in our discussions, and unity in our purpose. May the work we do here be guided by integrity, compassion, and a deep commitment to the well-being of every resident of this township. Today, our hearts are especially with those in Texas affected by the recent devastating floods. We lift up in prayer families who have lost loved ones, the communities displaced, and all who are facing hardship and uncertainty. Surround them with your comfort and peace. Strengthen the hands of the first responders and volunteers offering aid. And may hope rise in the midst of all this destruction. As we go about our responsibilities tonight, remind us of the power of community, the value of empathy, and the sacred duty we hold to serve one another. May our efforts be a reflection of your love and justice. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jack, and thank you, everyone. We'll move on to our first item, which is public comments. I'll go over the rules for public comments in a second, but let me be clear about how this works. Later on, we have public hearings for different items. If your comments pertain to those items, I will open the floor for those at that time. So if you're here to speak on one of those topics, you don't have to go right now. But if you would like to go now, that's fine too. The rules for public comments, we do limit public comments to 3 minutes. You'll see there's a countdown clock on the screen, which will help you manage your time. No individual can speak more than once. Public comments are not a question and answer period. Please be respectful of others. No abusive, obscene, or irrelevant comments will be allowed. And if you would like to make a comment, if you raise your hand, I'll acknowledge you. When you go to the podium, you need to state your name and address for our record and then make your comments, okay? I see one hand in the air right now. So go ahead, go up to the podium. Just make sure that that microphone is turned on. Should be a green light on if it's on. Okay, very good. Thank you.
That has been planted in the yard next to me at 5565. 4 months ago, I was told by the building department that no sheds were allowed in the front yard. For some reason, this shed is still there. It's as large as a one-stall garage. It's too close to the lot line. Why is it still there? They didn't even have a building permit to do it. I'm beginning to think that this township's ordinance enforcement is a joke. There are 2 utility trailers on Coit Avenue in front of houses that have been there for 6 months. There's an ordinance against that, but why are they still there? In reference to this shed, I was told by the building department it has to be moved to be 25 foot from my lot line. I see no movement, and I don't think there's enough room unless they plant it on their driveway. I want to see action on this. I am unhappy with the board because I wrote you a letter. You never responded to my letter. Do you know who works for who? I get better response from my representative in Washington, D.C. because when I send them an email, I get a response. I'm unhappy with the board that they never responded to my letter of about 8 weeks ago. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing no one else, I will close the floor for public comments at this time, and we will move on. Without any questions, comments, concern from the board, I would seek a motion to approve our agenda, including the consent agenda and accounts payable.
I make a motion to approve the agenda, the consent agenda, and the accounts payable.
Thank you, Jack. Support?
Support.
Thank you, Susan. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Yes?
Mrs. Morrow?
Yes.
Mr. McKellar, yes. Mr. Pfaff?
Yes.
Mr. Emminga?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Steve. All right, next item on our agenda is a presentation from the Michigan Titanium folks, and there he is. Anybody want to lead off, or?
I can real quick. Is this working? Is this working? There we go. This is their 11th annual event being held in the township and headquartered out of Versluis Park. As you know, if you know from the past, they've run an excellent event each year, very well organized. This year is no different. They already have all of their permits in or received permits from the road commission for road closures, and they've lined everything up with the sheriff's department for the logistics, and they have everything lined up with us for Versluis Park. So we're ready to go on our end.
Well, thank you. I'm John Conkling. I'm one of the event directors for Michigan Titanium, as well as a co-owner of Treasure Health.
Is the microphone still on?
You see a green light?
You see a green light?
Yeah, a little bit. Can you hear me or no? Actually, no, the light's not on.
Okay, here comes.
Okay, that's better. John Conkling, co-owner of Treasure Health and one of the event directors for Michigan Titanium. So you can go ahead. Thank you. Just a little bit about us. We are a very athlete-focused, community-minded company. We own and operate 21 events across Michigan and now into Indiana. Those include triathlon, cycling, gravel events, mountain biking, running, and even youth events. We fundraised and donated just over $250,000 last year just through our events alone. And those were to local and national nonprofits. And then we are both also USA Triathlon certified race directors and have been since we took over in 2019. Good. And then next slide. Thank you. There we go. One more. There we go. So as far as Michigan Titanium, this is actually the 14th year. No worries. This is a swim, bike, run event that has been held at Versluis Park since its inception in 2012. It's a USA Triathlon sanctioned event and has been each and every year since it started. We've been a 4-time national championship event through our USA Triathlon organization in 2019, 22, 23, and even last year, 24. And we do offer shorter distances, including very newbie-friendly sprint distances, and then our longer distance, which is the ultra distance, which is really what Michigan Titanium is very unique for as the largest independent ultra distance triathlon in the nation. So we pull typically about 750 to 900 people each year. That's been a little higher pre-COVID, but we're getting back up to about 900 people now. We pull about 1,000 spectators. That includes families, friends, supporters that come out to cheer on the athletes. Typically, they come from about 35 states, typically about 3 countries each and every year. That doesn't really vary too much. 60% do live within 50 miles of Grand Rapids. So even though we're pulling nationally, this is still a very hyper-focused, locally participated triathlon. We have a very high percentage of triathletes in this area. And of those that did travel to come to this race, 73% did visit at least one local business, 62% stayed at least one hotel night in one of the local participating hotels. And then we get that data through our athlete survey that we send out on the Monday morning after each event so that we can get that data, know where people are coming from, and kind of how they're interacting in the community. So the nonprofits that we support through this event, number one has been Team World Vision. They're a national organization basically a provider of clean water throughout the world, different impoverished countries, and they've used our event as a major fundraiser for a lot of their efforts. They have a team that just races this and marathons and some others, and through Mai Tai last year, they raised $100,000, which is a pretty typical number for them. They've got a really great fundraising arm and definitely use our event to raise awareness and funds for those efforts. And then locally, we support My Team Triumph West Michigan. We donated over $22,000 to them last year, and they provide athletic experiences for disabled and developmentally disabled children and young adults that are able to kind of participate in these events through what they call angels to help pull them through the swim and the bike and the run, and they get their finish line experience. So it's a really special organization. It's started right here. So the road closure requests that we're asking for, number one would be Northland Drive from Grand River down to Cannonsburg. This would be the eastbound lane only. These are exactly the same requests that we made each and every year in order to put this event on. It would be the northbound lane only from 4:45 a.m. on August 10th to until 1 a.m. on August 11th. And then from Grand River, from the east belt line to Stiles Creek, which is the county line with Ada. We've already gotten the Ada approval for their small portion of our run course. So that's all done. And that would be from 8:15 a.m. August 10th until 1 a.m. August 11th. And then finally, Cannonsburg Road from Northland Drive to Brewer Drive from 8:15 a.m. until about 3:30 p.m. on August 10th. That provides us with a safe course for our bike start, because our bike course primarily goes out through Cannonsburg Road towards Ionia and goes way, way far out there. But it gives us a very safe kind of start and finish for those cyclists, and also kind of controls the traffic between the cars and the cyclist interactions. And these are some maps that we've included that just give a visual of what those closures would be. This is the bike course closure that I just mentioned. And then this is the larger Grand River Drive for our run course, which goes all the way to the Ada County line. So that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions for John? I'll just say thank you for coming back. We appreciate your event every year. Oh, Bob, go ahead.
I'd have some. This is exciting stuff. I think these are the types of things I like to see, especially in our township. Where else do you hold this?
We hold events we have a big one in Ada that's a little bit bigger than this one, but this is definitely one of our 3 big events. We hold the Gran Fondo event, the big cycling event downtown in Grand Rapids about a month ago in partnership with Mary Freebed. We hold events on the east side of the state. We hold events on the lake shore, and basically all the communities that we're operating in, we're trying to hook up with the local townships that let us hold the events and see where we can connect with nonprofits and the community in order to make these things positive experiences. When I was an athlete, I participated in a lot of events like this, and a lot of times they would just kind of come into the communities and residents would kind of get a whiplash, really. And there wouldn't be a lot of interaction and connectivity between the event and the community. And that when we became owners of this company and started looking at these things, this was something we wanted to really work on, because this event and the other one at the time, Grand Rapids Tri, did this very well. So that's something we've kind of carried forward now to 21 events. So. Not yet. Okay. Really? Well, what's his name? Okay. Yeah. Right.
He's a triathlete. He started out as the chubby kid.
Right.
He'd be all over this.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, we're always looking for new opportunities and see where we can kind of have a positive event like this that could come into these communities, as long as the communities are looking for it and it makes sense. And there's triathletes there to serve the need.
Okay, thanks. Go ahead.
Hey, John, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Hey, with Mai Tai and the Nationals on the same day, have you seen any drop off in in registration?
A little bit, not so much with Mai Tai. We see more of effects from that with our Grand Rapids Tri. USA Triathlon holds, they're our governing body, and they also hold competing events, which is a little bit of a oxymoron, I guess. But we're actually working with them pretty closely to try to move, not have those conflicts, so that it's just a better opportunity for grassroots race directors like us, as well as the national organization. So that is a ongoing conversation we always have. But fortunately, Mai Tai has been pretty insulated from that, and we haven't seen those effects too much.
Even that you're on the same weekend as in the one in Milwaukee?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, numbers are actually up a little bit from where they were last year, and we were 860 triathletes registered last year, and we're trending about 5% above that right now, which is good.
And I just want to assure the board, I typically do 3 of Try for Health's events, and they are ran at top notch. I've always felt safe out on the roads, always felt well supported. Had one minor injury one year, and they were all over me trying to, making sure I was okay. So it's, I've raced other events, and they're far and beyond even the national events that I've been in, so we're good. Glad to have you here, yeah.
We appreciate that. This is all we do 24/7, so we put a lot of man-hours into this and a lot of thought. Thank you.
We went from everybody being quiet to everybody has something now, but Frank, go ahead.
Well, I'm just pleased to see you're still partnering with World Vision. My wife and I have been sponsors for over 10 years, so it's a great organization.
They're wonderful. They really are. They do a lot of really great work, and
They do
their
worldwide.
team World Vision, they're such great fundraisers, and they really look for small and big events to really plug people into their cause, and yeah, they're wonderful to work with.
I should have just went down the row. Susan, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I have a connection with the special needs group, and they're looking forward to this. They've been talking about it for a year. And I think maybe our clerk was a little bit quiet about his abilities in the race. Everybody who knows about races like this knows that it takes an unbelievable amount of preparation. And Steve is forever swimming everywhere, riding everywhere. We've got him ready to go, okay?
I know he's ready, trust me. I see him out there. I see what his times are. You don't do that by not putting the time in.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Everyone else is going to say something. I have to too. This is a highlight from Plainfield, and we so appreciate that you are here and offer such a quality event. So thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Very proud
We
to have
appreciate the
you here.
support. We couldn't do this without the support of you guys, the police, I mean, all the organizations and different entities that we work with. It all creates that kind of puzzle that works. So thank you.
And I am a professional spectator, so I'll be there to spectate.
Sounds good.
Jack, that leaves you. Anything?
Well, anything I say would be, has already been said. So I also appreciate you.
Yeah. Okay, John, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Once again, thanks for
Appreciate
coming
it.
back.
Thank you.
You bet. Our next item is our financial audit report for 2024.
Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, I am the newer finance director here at Plainfield Township, Adam Zavisha. I'm going to give you a couple things. So for our lovely Board of Trustees, you all should have our ACFR, Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, in front of you, along with the letter from our auditors, kind of, giving an overview of how our audit went and any action items there. So for members of the community, if you would like to see our ACFR, it is on our website. If you cannot find it, please just contact the finance department here or call the main township line, and we'll direct you to it and help you get a copy of it. With that, I want to introduce Doug Verdeveld from Verdeveld Hafner, our auditor, and kind of give you a nice overview of our audit. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to be here again. I appreciate the chance to come. We did get a little bit of a later start on the audit this year due to the turnover in the finance department staff, but we were able to get it completed timely and filed with the state before the deadline, so that's good. It is once again annual comprehensive financial report and continues to meet the requirements to qualify for the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting. It has been submitted now, right? And should be all set for that. So the GFOA, Government Finance Officers Association, grades it and checks everything over very closely to make sure that it meets their pretty stiff standards and requirements. The report is divided basically into 3 sections. There's the introductory section, which is a letter from the township that kind of accompanies the financial statement. And then there's the financial section, that's the part we focus on. And then the statistical section, which kind of gives you a 10-year, lays out the last 10 years of financial results and other statistics within the township. So I'm going to primarily focus on the financial section. So right behind the financial tab, that's the independent auditor's report. That's on our letterhead, and it's on page 1. If we do all of the work and test internal controls and so forth to reach an opinion on the financial statements. After our test work, and our opinion is in the second paragraph on the top of page 1, it says, in our opinion, the financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the township. So that's a good, unmodified report, and certainly what you hope for when you have an audit done. In addition to that, we did expand the scope of our procedures a little bit to be in accordance with what's called government auditing standards, also known as the Yellow Book standards. And that's the very last page of your book that you have. It's an internal control and compliance report at the financial statement level. And if there were any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies, we would report those to you here, and there are none reported. So that's good as well. We don't have to report any significant deficiencies. So as far as the statements go, I'll refer you to pages in here, but we'll mostly look at the slides here. But the first several slides are from pages 17 through 19 in the report. First off, right on the bottom of page 17, which is the statement of net position, this is presented in full accrual basis. It's made to look similar to any other business that you might have seen. And divided into columns for governmental activities, which is everything the township does except the water and sewer function. The water sewer function is in the business type activities. So those are the 2 main columns. And at the bottom line, unrestricted net position of governmental activities at the end of the year was 7.6 million, and governmental, or business type activities rather, was 17.4 million. So both very good. It's not unusual to see negative unrestricted net position there due to pension liabilities and so forth, but the Plainfield Township has remained positive there, so that's very good. And then for the income statement, this first slide here kind of just gives a breakdown of where does the governmental activities, this is strictly governmental activities, not the business side, but where does the revenue come from? And you can see a little over half of it comes from property taxes. Another 26% is coming from state shared revenues. And I did look at the pie chart from last year is quite a bit different because that green piece of pie there, the grants, was significantly higher last year, about 18%, due to recognizing the ARPA revenue in fiscal '23 rather than '24. So this is basically more normal and kind of shows you where your revenue comes from. Next slide. And then there's general revenues and there's program revenues, and this gives you a little breakdown of the expenses by function compared to the program or direct revenues associated with each of those functions. So you can see the general government, the expenses exceed the program revenues in all of the areas. In the general government area, there's some charges for services that are the program revenues. In the culture and recreation, there was a pretty significant grant received this year for the Grand Rogue Park project, and that's the direct or program revenues associated with that. And what this slide really tells you is we have property taxes and state shared revenue that aren't affiliated with any particular function, and that's what fills in the difference for each of these areas. So but these are the direct and program revenues. Next slide. And this is just a breakdown of the bottom line, the net assets of the governmental activities. You can see that top blue line is the invested in capital assets. So that goes up as you add capital assets. It comes down as they're depreciated, and it also comes down if you pay off debt. There is no debt in the governmental activities at the township. So this has just been increasing with cash spent on new investment in capital this year, or over the last several years. This year, there was a few trails were added, several vehicles, and the big park project, the Grand Road Park project, was added into these, and there was, as I mentioned, no debt was added or anything like that. And you can see the unrestricted has gone down slightly. I didn't make any specific notes on that, but there was a lot of cash spent on these projects, so that drives the unrestricted portion down. It's still at a very good level in here, so. And then the next several slides, this is more pages 20 through 23, and this is, I'm gonna focus just on the general fund, which is the left-hand column on page 20. You can see this year there's a unassigned or available fund balance in the general fund of 4.5 million. That's down a bit from last year, and I'll get to that. There is an amount set aside for the 2025 expenditures of about 2.4 million. So that was budgeted to be used in 2025. This first slide here just has the general fund revenues. You can see taxes have been steady and increasing. The state shared revenue has been pretty steady. They stay about the same. There was a blip in 2022 for the additional payout for the census that came out in 2020. So in 2022, they made up for that additional payout, but now it's gonna stay pretty steady for the next several years. And then on the other category, prior year, you see the big bump there in other, and that's the a FEMA grant that was recognized last year for some work that was done. And this year, other than that, there was nothing real unusual in there. Also wanted to refer you to page 47 in the report. And this is your general fund. It's right past your supplementary tab to make it easy. This is the budget to actual, and you can see this reports your original and final budgets with your actual amounts. And as you scan down that right-hand column, it gives you some positive and negative variances. Mostly positive. There were just a few negative variances that we did have to report to the state, but none were of the substance that required the state to get after you, I should say. And you didn't have to reply to them. So they use a 10% threshold. If it's more than 10% over budget, you have to make an excuse for it, basically. But, so they were fine. And then the next slide, Cam. This is the expenditures by function in the general fund. So we kind of looked a little bit at the budget to actual, but nothing real unusual here. The expenditures fluctuate a little bit with capital outlay and so forth. The big change you see there is on the transfers out. There was a very large amount transferred to the capital project fund related to that park project. And then the next slide. So you can see here, this is the general fund unassigned fund balance as a percentage of expenditures and transfers. Now, just as a percentage of expenditures, it's about 39%, and that number is in this report. With this focus on it, it's more like 32 to 33%. And you can see it did come down quite a bit this year, and that's primarily due to the 2.4 million set aside for the 2025 budget. So that's considered assigned fund balance, not unassigned fund balance. So that drives the unassigned percent down. Then just a couple things on the water and sewer fund. Starting on page 24 to 26. Again, both of these funds are in decent shape. The sewer fund has unrestricted net position of 7 million. The water fund unrestricted net position of just over 10 million. A lot of things going on in these funds the last several years with construction and so forth. This these slides that I have for the sewer and water fund presented all of the revenues and all of the expenses. And then the yellow bar is the operating income and loss, or loss. So you can see in the sewer fund, operating income is good. It's about 800,000. So that's in good shape. And then the next slide is the water fund. You can see the revenues are very high. That's due to the settlement proceeds you've been receiving the last several years. But the operating income is negative. It's a negative 889,000. And that's because now that you've made all this capital investment in the sewer system, or the water system rather, with the settlement proceeds, this is gonna start depreciating every year. So depreciation in the water fund this year was 3.2 million, and that's gonna continue for the next many years. So in spite of having negative operating income, the cash flow is still good because depreciation is a non-cash item. So cash flow is, in the water fund, was still a positive $3 million. So your depreciation was 3.2 million. So it's still, you still remain positive on a cash basis. And then the next slide. So this, you can see the capital investment, like I just mentioned, has gone way up in the last 2 to 3, 4 years. And you're now over 100 million. There was, like I mentioned, this also goes up as debt is paid. So about $1 million of debt was paid, 900,000 was paid off. There was no new debt issued in the water and sewer funds. So in good shape, I believe. And then just a couple footnotes, if you have your book in front of you, it's page 36, note number 2. This is what we reported to the state for your excess of expenditures over budget. And again, none of these met the state's criteria to have to report or to have to get after you on them. And then also note 8 on page number 45, wanted to point out. That's the commitment footnote. So as of your year end, you had about 6.7 in outstanding purchase and construction commitments at year end. So there was a lot of stuff going on right at year end and a lot coming up. The only other thing I was going to go over, there's a couple items in that other separate letter that you have, the 2-page one. So even though there weren't any reportable conditions or material weaknesses or significant deficiencies, there are a couple things that we did find, primarily due to this turnover in staff, little things here and there that got missed, that were reported in here on the second page. And they were, again, adjusting entries for a time didn't get reviewed the way they should, and they are now. There was some reviewing of billing adjustments that didn't get done for a time. They are being done now. So there's other things too, some cash reconciliation challenges that was in process, and also a couple tax distributions were made late, by just a few days. But all, again, during the staff turnover crisis, it just got overlooked and didn't get done timely. But we have to report them to you, so I did. Are there any questions I can answer?
Okay, any questions for Doug? Jack?
I do. I didn't have a chance to study this, so I'm coming out of ignorance, okay?
No problem.
Page 47.
Yep.
Actual compared with budget. Net change in fund balance, the actual amount is 1.6 million.
Correct.
That represents, I don't want to call it a loss. We basically took some from our cash.
From your net position, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
On page 19, and this is a statement of activities, it says a net position at the end of the year is more than beginning of the year. It's 144 million.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to, in my own mind, obviously, one includes more than the other, and I'm not
Right.
sure which is which.
Okay, on page 19, that's your full accrual financial statement, so it includes all of your debt it includes all of your capital assets. So to compare that to what's in the general fund doesn't work. It's just on a totally different basis of accounting, and we have to present both basis of accounting in here. So if you look on page 22, on the left-hand column, that's your general fund, and it has exactly the same numbers as page 47. Only page 47 is in a little more detail.
Okay, so,
So the general fund decreased by 1.6 million, and actually before the transfer for capital projects, there was actually an increase in the general fund of 238,000.
okay, so bottom line, although, as I recall, and I'm trying to remember back to July and August of last year when we did our budget, we
Yes.
projected in our budget a net loss for the year. But you're saying, no, that didn't turn out that way, it was a net.
No, you're correct. There was a projected net loss for '24, is that for the budget? Yes, there was, and that's on the one on page 47.
47, okay, so we did project a net loss of 2.1 million, but we only had a net loss of 1.6 million, is that?
Correct, yep.
Okay.
You actually
All right.
finished about 400,000 ahead of what you budgeted
Okay,
for the year.
I understand, thank you.
Correct.
Go ahead.
Bob, do you have anything?
Not this time.
Okay, Steve?
I'm good.
Susan?
Doug, there were several suggestions made for changes or attention to different things having in the water department. And I just was pleased, recently we switched the water billing to monthly. And I just thought you would like to know that we're taking your suggestions and already starting on getting it done. And then this has nothing to do with age. I know that, right? On page 47 and 48, the print is so small. And those are two of the pages that take a lot of study. But there's half a page left on 48.
I can flip that one sideways
Thank
and
you.
make it much better.
That's
Thank
funny,
you.
I can see it fine.
Oh, yeah. He's older than I am.
I had to start wearing these about a year ago too myself, so.
Well,
yeah,
thank you again
fun
for,
stuff.
thank you again for being our auditor. It's always educational and everything is detailed and believe it or not, we turn our pages down and work on it as we have time to do it. But we appreciate having you here again.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Kathy?
Just a thought, we turn this into the state, correct?
Correct, yes.
I find that very interesting since I was with two legislators this morning who they're not even close to getting the state budget completed. So
Yeah, isn't that fun?
yay
huh?
us at Plainfield.
Yeah, every audit report gets submitted to the state, so.
Okay, thank you, Frank.
All set.
Yep. Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All righty. Okay, we will move on to our next item on the agenda, which is public hearings. Our first is a request from the Dean Lake Association to increase their special assessment district for aquatic weed control. Is that you, Pete?
That is me.
Okay,
Just to clarify on this one, it's going to be public hearing, close public hearing, and then vote on the resolution number 5. This will be a little different than the next couple that are coming up because this is just one step in the whole process. So as you are probably aware, the Dean Lake Association Board approached the township to increase the assessment for weed control on the lake this year. They've done so previously. This was originally started in 1995. Can be increased about 9.99% per year, but the proposed administratively, but this proposed increase is beyond that. So they're asking for an increase from $182.20 to $242.24 for roughly 96 homes on the lake. There's also a one-time assessment on this. There is a public hearing notice for $3,790. and that works out to about $39.50 per property owner. We're seeing a significant increase in the public hearing costs for the Grand Rapids Press, but we will be working on that in the future. That's a one-time fee, billed out in this calendar year. If the board is so inclined, we prepared a motion for you, and it is on the following line there, resolution number 5. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Peter. At this time, I would open the floor for any public comments on this issue. Yes, sir.
Dennis Weiner, I live at 3789 Holtman Court Northeast. And just a couple comments. I want to thank you for addressing this issue. But what happened the last 2 years is we supplied you guys with, the Plainfield Township, with the notice to increase it by 9.9%, but it never happened for the last 2 years. So the reason it's going up 33% is to catch up from where Grand Rapids Township is. And the second thing I want to ask or say is there are 2 plots on our lake, on Dean Lake, that are owned by the Plainfield Township. And the question is, they are not part of the special assessment. Is there a reason why they are not?
Yeah, so I don't have a specific answer to that, other than this SAD has been set up for, going back decades. I don't know what the rationale was when it was set up at that time. Go ahead.
Back in if you went through the minutes in 95, they were exempted from this on overall as part of the agreement, because they're township property. That's essentially what it came down. Essentially, that's what it came down to.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Anyone else? Okay, seeing no one else, I'll close the floor for public comments, and we'll move on to board discussion on the issue. Frank, do you have anything?
I'm all set, thanks.
Kathy?
I'm just curious what happened the last couple of years that it wasn't, the assessment was not there?
So our auditor talked about a staffing change. There's a reason we had a staffing change. That's where I'll leave it.
Susan?
All set, thank you.
Bet. Steve?
I'm good.
Okay. Bob?
Okay.
Jack? Yes. Okay, me too. So I'd seek a motion at this time.
I move that the Township Board approve Resolution Number 5 to confirm and amend the special assessment role for Dean Lake Special Assessment District Number 54.
Thank you, Susan. Support?
Support.
I think that was Frank. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Hagedorn,
Yes.
Mrs. Morrow,
Yes.
Mr. McKellar, yes. Mr. Pfaff,
Yes.
Mr. Emminga,
Yes.
Ms. Beatty.
Yes.
Carried.
Thank you, Steve. Next item is to have a public hearing for the ravines at Inwood Plot Phase 4 to establish streetlight special assessment district. It's you again, Pete?
This is.
Wow.
So this is different than the last press set, than the last one we just did. What you have is 4 steps involved with this, with 4 public hearing notices going out and letters going to the residents in each case, and multiple public hearings. It's kind of, in short, it's a very cumbersome process. So we set, last meeting, we set the public hearing, and in this meeting, Resolution 2 and 3 are essentially setting the boundaries of the district and the role, essentially how much it costs. In this case, for the ravines, we're looking at, 8 proposed lights at $12.06 per month, or $96.48 annually. I think it's like 34 parcels and split up amongst them for the year. Since this is developer-led, they are paying the installation fees directly with consumers, where you might not have that if it's resident-led. Tonight, again, hold a public hearing, and then after the public hearing, consider under new business, not technically under new business, but consider the motion to approve Resolution Number 2 and 3. We combined these a couple years ago to smooth up the process for you, so you don't have to do 2 different separate actions. In this case, we do offer you a motion here if you're so inclined to approve this. You also saw the final plat on the consent agenda earlier today. If you have any questions, let me know.
Thanks again. So at this time, I'd open the floor for public comments on this issue. And so seeing no one, I will close the floor for, I'll close the floor for the Inwood, I'm sorry. Yeah, Inwood plat. And we will move on to consider the approval of resolutions 2 and 3 to establish said streetlight special assessment. So Jack, anything?
No.
Bob?
Good.
Steve?
No.
Susan?
All said, thank you.
Kathy?
I'm good, thanks.
And Frank?
All set.
Okay, so I'll seek a motion.
I move that the Township Board approve Resolution Number 2 to confirm the boundaries of the ravines at Inwood Plat 4, Streetlight Special Assessment District, the cost estimate and the special assessment, roll and approval Resolution Number 3 to set the second public hearing date of August 11th, 2025.
Thank you, Frank. Support?
Support.
Thank you, Kathy. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hagedorn,
Yes.
Mrs. Morrow,
Yes,
Mr. McKellar, yes, Mr. Pfaff,
Yes.
Mr. Emminga,
Yes.
Ms. Beatty,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Next, to establish streetlight special assessment district for Skyway Drive. And is this you again, Peter?
This is me
We're
also.
gonna wear you out tonight.
I believe we're gonna have some residents here who want to speak on this subject matter.
Okay.
This is a different than what we typically do. This is a residential-driven one. Every year so far, last couple of years, we just started taking this over. Getting about 3 or 4 of these a year. It takes a lot of effort to get them off the ground, so this is kind of the first one we've had since 2021 at the township for residential or a established neighborhood. In this, it's the same separate processes, but one of the things I do want to point out is the assessment that we initially included here was $6,000 to cover the cost of publication. We're able to reduce that about $1,000, but it's still a hefty price on that. In addition to that, there is a $835 fee for consumers' energy. That is just part of the installation process, and I believe includes the removal of a pine tree on Skyway Drive. Ultimately, if you're inclined to approve this, we have provided a recommendation there for your behalf. It's approved in resolutions number 2 and 3. Again, to establish the boundary, the rule, and set another public hearing in August. That'll be the final public hearing. People will also have an opportunity to speak at that time. So if you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Pete. So I will open the floor at this time for public comments on the Skyway Special Assessment District. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hi there, my name is Noah Syme. I'm a resident of Skyway Drive. I'm at 5491 Skyway Drive. And I am against this resolution to install streetlights. Now, for those not familiar with the area, it is the road it's just off Booth, the area connecting West River and Pine Island. And it's called Skyway Drive for a reason, because you can really see the sky, especially from where I live. It's nice and open, and pretty much my entire life I've grown up watching meteor showers, watching 4th of July way off in the distance, fireworks, and like last year I was able to see the Aurora Borealis that was here in last summer. So for me, I grew up with it not being very bright, and I really value that on this street. Now, I'm guessing that this resolution was put forward likely by parents concerned about their children, or simply because the rest of the neighborhood has lights. But this was the oldest street, I believe, and that's why we don't have the lights. And historically, what we've done is we've worn reflective vests if we were afraid of getting hit by a car or something like that. But it's really not a busy neighborhood, and there's not really much risk of being hit by a car, and visibility is not much of an issue. Now, this was only passed, so there's 34 homes on the street, and 18 were pro like the resolution to be able to get it onto this board here. Meaning that if only one person was disapproving of it, then it would not have even been before us today. Now, the cost of it is, I'm gonna use, heard that the publication was reduced to $5,000, but it's still pretty similar. It would be, the total cost that we would have to pay for the first 5 years would be a little over $1,000 or $72 a year for the first 5 years, and then $32 a year for the energy costs to increase in perpetuity. So this is pretty expensive, and for those that don't want this to be passed, which is most of the people in my cul-de-sac, I really think it's quite expensive to be able to get this passed and to be able to continue paying for it. Now, since I've got just a little bit of time left, I want to say, if this does pass, I want to propose that these street lamps that are put in have covers on them to prevent excess light pollution. And also, maybe we could even reduce the amount of lights, maybe put them at the other end of the street where there isn't such great views. Like there's about half the neighborhood doesn't have the views that the other half has. And so that, so maybe we can install streetlights 1, 2, and 3. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Good evening, I'm Larry Dinkle. I got the ball rolling on the street lights. I'm the one who collected the signatures for the petition. I collected the signatures in January of last year, and once I got to 18, more than 51%, I stopped. I did not contact everyone on the street. So it was, my general numbers are 4 people in favor versus 1 against, just for the record. I've been trying to get a handle on cost for a long time on this. You know, everybody wants to know, what's it gonna cost? And it's been kind of a moving target. You know, the shocker on the, I don't know if everybody has seen this. It's this side of is what was published in the paper that we have to pay for. Now, obviously, that could have been shrunk by 2/3 maybe for a public notice, you know? So we're getting tagged with a $6,000 bill, you know, which raises the cost. The cost of the publishing this is 6 times the cost of the installation of the lights. So I surveyed people in the neighborhood, and comments I got back after the $6,000 costs include, let's see, seems crooked that the publishing costs are more than the actual installation operating costs. Corrupt and a ripoff. Whenever the township publishes a notice, is the cost covered by only those affected, or is the cost covered by all township residents? Publishing costs is ridiculous. I'm out if we have to pay publishing costs. Township has no hesitation in raising taxes. As far as the street lights themselves, there would be 7 lights. The one down at the end of the cul-de-sac would be on a pole. The other ones would be mounted to existing power poles spaced out along Skyway. There are no sidewalks on Skyway. If you want to walk on Skyway, you're walking in the street. You get the time change in the fall, dark at 5. People are out there walking their dogs. I used to have a dog, and I was scared numerous times. And there's been numerous times you hear some commotion down the street. What the hell's going on down there? I don't know. I can't see. I can't tell what's going on. You know, it would aid snowplow officers, emergency service people. And also, it would benefit the township. People from the lower subdivision come up to Skyway and walk and use it. So, how much time do I got here? 20 seconds. Basically, the costs have been a moving target for a long time. I would like to get a firm cost of what it's gonna cost us. We know what the operating cost is gonna be, what's the installation cost, and why is the township charging us? Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Green light is on.
My name is Keith Vree, and I live in 5541 Skyway, and I want to commend Larry for doing such a great job and getting 18 folks together, which is always difficult in a neighborhood. I concur everything Larry says. You know, the street is dark. We've lived there. We built that house there about 24 years ago, and it's a great neighborhood, but it's dark. And we have a lot of folks that come in from, as Larry mentioned, from down below. They walk their dogs, walk their kids. The neighborhood is changing. You know, when we moved in there 24 years ago, it was an older neighborhood, established with a lot of senior citizens, okay, about my age. Now, we've got young families there, and I think it's time that we need the lights. And the one thing, I think all 18 people were in accordance and in favor of putting those lights in, but that $6,000 fee scared a lot of people off. And, you know, the Grand Rapids Press, nobody reads the Grand Rapids Press, number one. Nobody is online. I think the only people that actually use the Grand Rapids M Live are the obituaries, okay? Anything else? You know, can we actually post it in the Rockford Register or the Comstock Park newspaper? Okay, you're saying no. Well, obviously, I'm asking that possibly the county, the Plainfield Township will pick up the cost of the $6,000. That's what I'm asking for. And I'm hoping you'll consider it because I think this is a cause well spent, and I think the Plainfield Township should look into this and see if they can help us with that $6,000 fee. Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name's Richard Besser. I live at 5640 Skyway Drive. Been there for 14 years. I didn't sign the petition because I personally don't see why we need streetlights, although I appreciate the comments of the speakers before me. I do agree with the first fellow with reference to the ambiance of our street. And to be honest with you, I never got any information with respect to how much this was going to cost till I walked in here tonight and sat down with one of my neighbors who's been getting information. I didn't know about the $6,000. I was in government in Brooks Township and Newaygo County for many, many years, and I understand that things have to be published, but they can be published in places where people who have an interest in that sort of thing have the ability to read it. So I disagree with the fact that you can spend all that kind of money for the Grand Rapids Press when there are other places where you can do this. I have no idea what the costs were to install it. I don't know anything about the cost that would maintain it. And I don't know what the costs would be to operate those things. And I think the Township Board owes it to the rest of us on the street, which are basically half of us, to be able to give us some pretty solid figures on this before we go ahead and do this sort of thing. So, and also probably a better way for you guys to communicate with the 34 people that live on that street, because I got no information at all. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing no one else, I'll close the floor for public comment. Do you have something?
So I think we need to add some clarity on the public hearing requirements. State law requires that we publish these notices in a paper of circulation. We have asked attorneys what qualifies as a paper of circulation. The Comstock Park DDA's little newspaper is not a newspaper. That does not count. Rockford Squire does not count. Our attorneys have ruled on that. Basically, Grand Rapids Press is about our only avenue, and their prices have gone up, 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 up. It's jaw-dropping how much they charge for one of these ads these days. And we have requirements on legibility, size of print. You can only shrink it so much. So the cost is what the cost is, and the cost has to be passed on a special assessment district. If the township were to start covering the cost of all that, do you know how many SADs we've done just tonight, let alone throughout the course of a year? you would have a full room of people saying, we just had a special assessment district, now we want our costs covered too. We'd be talking tens of thousands of dollars in publication costs. So I think that's a non-starter for the board. It's something that was requested. It wasn't something that the township initiated. So that's been standard practice, and I think that needs to stay standard practice.
Thank you. Pete, anything further, or are you all set?
I just want to add, administratively, we didn't charge anything. It's just solely the cost of the publication. And the other thing is, we do send out we're also required to send out a notice to each individual property owner 10 days prior, explaining the public hearing process. And for Richard Bessler and for Mr. Bessler, I do have the numbers here if he wants to look at them. They're all written out. So that's all I have. So if you have questions, let me know.
Okay, thank you. Board comment time. Frank?
Okay, so Pete, I'm trying to get an idea of yearly cost for installation and maintenance. What is the number per resident? Because I want to understand that.
Let me grab that one.
$33 for a month?
I just want to make sure I.
It's 30, it's right in the memo there, right down, the annual.
$235 per parcel.
Yep.
I'm sorry?
Per parcel.
Per month, right?
No, that's the tax bill.
That's total.
That's on the tax bill.
It's on the tax bill once a year.
That's just $32 a year?
So the price is split up. So Pete, maybe you want to talk about that a little bit. There's an initial cost to cover the installation and then the electric cost afterward. I think there's a little confusion on that.
So installation, then you're saying maintenance.
Correct. Yeah.
All right, so here's your annual amount that they have to pay per light, and it's running like $32.35, okay? And then you take that times 8 lights, and you get $835, and then you divide that up, excuse me, so it gets confusing a little bit, but, sorry. Equates to $32.35 per parcel, and a one-time assessment for consumers, which is the $835 total. There's 2 different types of lights. There's one that's $11.37 per month, and then there's one at $12.06. That make sense?
So the $835, which is a one-time cost, correct?
Yep. The $835 is a one-time cost. That is the cost that's for installation of the lights on the poles and a potential removal of a tree.
And that's divided up by the residents, or that's per resident?
That's spread out over 3 years because of the public hearing notice cost also is part of your one-time cost. And because it was high, we offered to extend it to 3 years, so it wasn't
So it is
such a hit.
the $835 is per resident?
$835 is divided along with the $6,000 per resident, per 34 homes.
Okay.
Well, it's gonna come down, it comes down to exactly $5,841.40. For the out, yep. So the one-time fee, this includes the public hearing costs and the $835 installation cost is $5,841.40. That'd be a 3-year assessment. You could pay that over the 3 years. Yep. Or you can pay it divided by the 34 homes, or you can pay it up front. The problem with over the 3 years, there's still interest bearing on that. Yeah. It's a 6,835, because you have the 6,000, and then you add the 835 for the installation cost, and you subtracted the difference here.
Tell her she has to, she can't just.
Yep.
But I thought you said earlier you got it reduced to 48.
Yes. We got it reduced. We revised the public hearing notice and we got it reduced. That is correct.
Okay, then you take the 4,800 in your calculation rather than the 6.
It's roughly, it's actually 4,133 plus 873. Those are the total costs. It came in about 49,000. So then you add in the 87, so if you add those two numbers together and then you add in the 835, that's what gets you to $5,841.
Pete, I want to focus back on, this is board discussion time.
Yeah.
So Frank, continue with your questions, please.
I guess, sorry, I'm not trying to act. I'm not quite understanding the numbers. Normally, it's not a problem, but I'm not quite. So I guess I'm looking for total cost per resident. The total cost per resident.
Okay.
I know they can pay it over 3 years, I get that. But what's the total cost per resident? I'm talking about installation costs and maintenance costs. What's the total cost per resident? Does that make sense? We need to table this.
So this is the total of all that, right?
Yep.
5,841 divided by how many?
34.
34. So that's $171.80.
Yep. $171.80. So if we take the total cost, if you take the two public hearings plus the 835 for the installation, take those three costs, two public hearings, installation, that grand total is $5,841.40. Divide that by 34 property owners, we're at $171.79, or about 80 cents. So just under $172 per parcel for all those initial costs, which is totally separate from the almost $33 for the ongoing energy costs. So those are the two costs, 171.80-ish, which that's the cost that could be spread out over the 3 years. And then separate from that is the energy. And just for the benefit of the board, we did not get the final quote from the Grand Rapids Press until yesterday.
Sorry, I didn't have thanks for walking me through
So
it. I think.
that's why we gave we knew that the number was going to go down. We just didn't know how much. So that's why we gave a round estimate of 6,000. It can be reduced. It's just the increase we can't do.
Okay. Thanks.
All set, Frank?
Yes.
Okay, Kathy?
That helped me as well. Thank you very much. Just two questions. How long is this street? Do we know?
Roughly about a half mile.
A half a mile? Okay. Is there any way to compromise if the group wants to, instead of having 7 lights, that they have 4 lights? Has there been any discussion about that?
They can, we actually when the consumers did the initial study, they started at, I think, 12. There's already a light at the intersection there. There's already a SAD to the south of them that kind of covers a portion of that area. So right off the bat, a couple were eliminated. Walking with Larry and that, I think 2 more were eliminated. Certainly, you can reduce the number of lights as part of this SAD. I don't think that's a problem. It would just, again, be increasing it. So if they wanted to reduce them, that's fine. The costs, though, per month are right in the ballpark of typically what we're seeing. It's anywhere from, depending on the number of units, it's anywhere from about 25 to 35. So that's consistent with new developments or old developments. And so, and the installation costs are quite frankly, the cheapest we've seen. A lot of the developers are paying several thousand for that, so.
I was just curious if a possibility of tabling this and maybe some more further discussion with the group themselves. Just a thought. Thank you.
Susan?
I think I'm, okay, $170 times 34 for 3 years. And then the regular uh, usage. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Steve?
Peter, is the 8 lights a hard number, or can that be adjusted? Can the residents actually adjust that?
It can be reduced down. That was an estimate by consumers to cover that amount of distance with a minimal amount of recommended lighting. When Larry and I initially talked, we thought it was overlighted, so we reduced it as much as consumers recommended. But certainly, you don't have to cover the entire district, or you can opt some, I suppose we could revise that district, but I'd have to check with our attorney on that.
Good, thank you. I'm good.
Bob?
I feel the pain of this young gentleman here because I live in picturesque Rock Hill, and for years we had Plainfield Toyota just over the trees, and we refer to that as the Toyota Borealis until, because you couldn't see anything, it was just, and then they changed it, Kia went in and they basically lowered the lights. I get where you're coming from as far as that, but one of the other things I also understand, if you got a lot of young families, we have a lot of kids running ours. Our light really hasn't changed that much, but we're starting to notice more people, and you kind of go in the dark. You go, wonder what? Oh, there's our kids. But maybe I love to compromise. I love to love to get a deal where everybody's win-win or no deal. That's kind of my thing. And if they can do this with less lights, I mean, I think it'd be great. That way, everybody's happy, or maybe not.
Jack?
Of course, the problem with doing it with less lights is that we've already got the $6,000 publication fee. And if they do it with less lights, then maybe we have to republish. I don't know about that.
Please, this is board discussion time.
I see some inconsistencies here, and I want to get this clear. In the memo here, it talks about the amount per parcel and the installation fees, et cetera, the $6,000. And then it says property owners may opt to pay their proportion upfront or pay over 5 years with interest. And you had just mentioned 3 years, so I'm unclear.
When Larry and I discussed it, we discussed 3 years, but 5 years has also been discussed as an option, so, but it's your call.
Okay, so that can that be an administrative thing, or does the board have to pass on that?
Yeah, that's not part of the motion necessarily, you can decide that here.
Okay.
We have that flexibility administratively, but if the board would like to, or I should say legally, we have that flexibility within the SAD rules to set that. If the board wants to set it at 3 or 5, that would help give guidance. But we'd want that in the final decision to know how to spread that. We find that once you get to a certain point, cost threshold, most people don't want the interest, and so they'd rather just have it consolidated anyway.
Sure, and I understand that. I have a pretty strong feeling against the state. And this is not the first time I've had a problem against the state. I really believe this whole publication thing on the Grand Rapids Press is so antiquated. First of all, 99% of the people that get the press are not even concerned about this, for one thing. And for another thing, a great amount of the population doesn't even get the press anymore. And I get it on Sunday, which if it's published on Sunday, fine, but, and unfortunately, we're stuck with that here, but I'd like to see some effort, and I'd like to do some effort to get the state to try to change that, because and I'm not really sure what the change could be, because it does need to be published, but for us on the outlying districts, publishing in the Grand Rapids Press seems ridiculous to me. Why does anybody in southern Kent County care at all about a streetlight district here? It doesn't make any sense at all. So That's just my opinion. Live with it if you like.
Okay. I feel like I need to bring some focus back here. My understanding is the majority or a sufficient number of residents petitioned us to do a special assessment district for lighting. I don't think cutting a light or two out is going to have that dramatic effect on these numbers that we need to spend time thinking about that. I'm not a lighting expert. I don't ever want to be. So all this other stuff is true. I agree with the Grand Rapids Press situation, but I hate to say it this way, but it is what it is. The cost is the cost. We can't help that. To Cameron's point, we can't pay that cost for everything that comes to this board table or we'll be bankrupt. So, but back to the matter at hand, because we've talked about a lot of surrounding things and things that don't pertain to this particular request. So everybody please bring focus back in and let's go from there, okay? So, any further comments? Go ahead.
If I could add, just for the board's sake, a clarification, there was a point brought up about light shielding and whatnot. When we work with consumers, we get the lights that consumers provides. So you'll notice that there's different ways of doing it. Like Sue, I think you mentioned the next one we're gonna look at on Columbine, the lights are a decorative style. Yeah. So when we work with new developments, they really have one or two options. They can do the lights that consumers provides, or they could do their own decorative style, which is a higher cost installation. That's where the owner or the neighborhood could decide if they want a more shielded light. So that really is not an option here unless the group were to go back and say, we want to consider something else that would be a more costly light fixture, but consumers installs what they install. Now, the ones they are installing now tend to be a little bit more directional down. They tend to be, they're putting more LEDs in that are more directional, so they're not pointing out and up and everything like the old halogen lights or, you know, the older mercury lights that they were using before. So just to clarify that for the board.
Okay, thank you. Anything further? Otherwise, I'll seek a motion if there's one.
I reluctantly move that the Township Board approve Resolution Number 2 to confirm the boundaries of the Skyway Drive Streetlight Special Assessment District estimate and roll. I'll try that again. My mic just went out. And confirm the boundaries of the Skyway Drive Streetlight Special Assessment District, the cost estimate, and the special assessment roll, and approve Resolution Number 3 to set the second public hearing date for August 11, 2025.
Thank you, Jack. Support?
Support.
I think Susan spoke first, so we'll go from there, and then roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Morrow?
Yes.
Mr. McKellar, yes. Mr. Pfaff?
Yes.
Mr. Reminga?
Yes.
Ms. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Item,
Mr. Coleman, how do we have another resolution, another public hearing on August 11th. How do we encourage our staff to come back with length of time for the special assessment? Is it going to be 3 years? Is it going to be 5 years? What will we see on August 11th?
We'll sit down with the property owners and discover what they want. The reason we were going with 3 years is over 5 years, it's just a little too long because you gain so much interest on that. But we can work with them to discover that for you.
there you go. That's fine. Okay. Item G, which is establish a streetlight special assessment district for Columbine Woods. Peter, you're on the clock again.
All right, so this one, you may recall, several years ago, Columbine Woods came in for a site condo development. It is a condominium with a public road in it. It's extending Columbine Avenue, I believe it is. And they went from a 7-unit development down to 4 now, and now they are getting ready to, everything's pretty much in, they're getting ready to start building houses, and They need one total street light for their 4 units, as required by ordinance. Bernie, I believe, is in the audience if you want to speak with him. This one's is about as straightforward as you can get, so if you have any questions, please let me know.
Okay, public comment on this issue. Bernie, if you want to speak, it's your time. No, you're good? I'm good. Okay, thank you. All right, well, we'll move on to quick board discussion here. Jack?
What is our advertising cost for this one?
Focus, Jack.
Yes, yes.
You don't want to know.
All right, I have nothing other than that.
Bob?
Nothing for me.
Steve?
Good.
Susan?
All set.
Kathy?
All set.
And Mr. Focus, Frank?
Good.
Okay, all right. All right, so how about we have a motion?
I make a motion that the Township Board approve Resolution Number 2 to confirm the boundaries of the Columbine Woods Streetlight Special Assessment District, the cost estimate, and the special assessment role, and approve Resolution Number 3 to set the second public hearing date for August 11th, 2025.
Thank you, Kathy. Support?
Support.
Thank you, Frank. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. McKellar, yep. Mr. Pfaft,
Yes.
Mr. Remingott,
Yes.
Ms. Beatty,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Hagedorn,
Yes.
Mrs. Morrow,
Yes.
motion carried.
Congratulations, Bernie.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good evening. All right. Item 9, our new business, believe it or not, we got that far, is to consider an approval of a contract for construction for the South Rogue River Trail. Pete, I'm assuming you're on break now and Mr. Bill gets to speak.
Yes, I'm ready.
Fantastic. I can't wait.
I know. Well, to tell you, the installation fees for a trail is much more than streetlights, as you will see here. With me is Scott Post, our trails engineer from Prine and Newhoff. He's going to speak in a few minutes, just quickly, to talk about the timing for the county's project, which Prine and Newhoff is helping out with as well. But backing up a little bit, remember the Parks and Rec Committee and staff recommended the South Rogue River Trail as our next one. It took 2 budget seasons to be able to afford this. We're looking really good and healthy for that. So over the past year, we've been designing, Prine and Newhoff has been doing survey, designing, and along the way came this Grand River Greenway project that you're very familiar with. We had Ben Swayze come in from Kent County Parks and Rec. This is a small piece of that puzzle, but it's a grand piece of that puzzle. So we're happy to be partnering with the county. When we originally were planning on doing this trail, we were not be able to afford what would be a separate pedestrian bridge over the Rogue River. County has stepped up to the plate, as you read in my memo, to do that. That's going to be close to like 880,000, probably million when we get all said and done. So that's something they're willing to do, which Scott will talk about briefly in a minute. The rest of the project goes through a portion of Blythefield Country Club's property, but for all transparency, I just want to say we're still working with them to obtain, us and the county, to obtain the actual approval of their easement. Everything's been written up. Jeff Sluggott's helped us out with it. We're going back and forth with them right now on fencing and some other issues. Hopefully it all works out, but it needs to, frankly, for this trail to work. Same thing with the county. Even though we have some leverage with Blythefield because of site plan approval and the requirement to do the trail, down at the other end, there's a piece of property that's outside of this that the county's working on to get to the tunnel, which has nothing to do with our approvals from the other project. All that said, we've been working the county and the township with Blythefield all this time. If things change, we'll keep you posted on that. But until then, eyes on the prize, and we want to keep this thing moving. So we went out for bids to contractors to make proposals. We got 5 responses, and you can see in there we even had one that was $1 million more than what we got with our lowest bid. We're recommending obviously Dan's Excavating. They're the contractor that's currently working down at Grand Rogue Park, as you read. So with that, you're very familiar with this, and I don't want to prolong this too much more, but I'm here for any questions. I'm going to have Scott just do a really quick synopsis of the why we took the routing on the south side, and then a quick update on the tunnel timeline that the county's doing.
Yeah, actually, even just as a township project, it's kind of exciting to see this as part of the Grand River Greenway as a piece of that. But even as a township project, I think this is kind of an exciting project because it's your first loop. Now you have, the White Pine Trail to the Rockford Trail up Cuts Hill to Jericho and the White Pine Trail and back down around. I haven't measured the distance, so I'll figure that out. And you guys can start getting your own Plainfield Township, 10Ks or something around that route. But yeah, we after reviewing it, we chose the south side of the road. It's an 8-foot wide township standard asphalt trail. Due to the cooperation with Kent County Parks, it'll have a 175-foot long, 10-foot wide steel bridge over the Rogue River. And then due to the current conversations with Blythefield Country Club, which they had indicated, they were open to, we were on an easement up above the road on Blythefield, near Blythefield's maintenance building. And so really just, I think it'll be a really nice route to ride. Now, as part of the Grand River Greenway, it'll connect into a tunnel that we're also working on with Kent County Parks under Northland Drive. It's an 18-foot wide, 12-foot tall tunnel that will cross over to essentially Dykeman's property on the other side of the road. And then that trail will continue south on Northland to Cannonsburg Road. Then there's 2 projects from there. There's a MDOT TAP project down Cannonsburg Road to Chauncey, and then another ARPA-funded project from Chauncey to Pettus. And I think that the current schedule for the tunnel is construction starting after the LPG event next year. And the current schedule for the trail to the east is right around the same time. We may get that started before the LPGA event, but it'll be on pause during that event. The schedule for our project here that we're talking about would be starting this fall, potentially as early as late August. Get the bridge abutments in this fall. Then the bridge takes 12 weeks to order, so no matter what, it's 12 weeks. So we should get the bridge around, the contractor should get the bridge around December-ish. They can hold off and they can install it in the winter on their finished abutments, or they can wait till spring to install it. Completion date for this project being May 15, which gives them at least 3 weeks, I think, prior to the prep for the LPGA tour, so. Good, yep.
Only thing I would add is, just to clarify, in the suggested motion of approval, if you're inclined to approve it, that does again include the counties, $880,000. We're working on an agreement with, they will be paying us back $880 of that. So ours comes out to about $1.3 million, which is about $100,000 more than we budgeted, but right within range. And the Trails Millage budget is healthy and can, no problems with that. So it's a big figure, but keep in mind, we're going to get reimbursed quite a bit of money of that, or quite a big amount of that. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Jack, do you have anything for Mr. Fisher?
I'm excited about this. I did ride the trail. I'm right 2 blocks from the Cuts Hill Trail. I rode the Cuts Hill Trail day before yesterday, went down and came down Belmont, which is a little shorter than going all the way to taking the White Pine Trail all the way to the end of where this trail would come out. And I clocked 11 miles, so I would figure it's about 13. That's pretty good. I appreciate the completion date of mid-November for the contractor, although I was surprised by how quick he said he thought he could do that. May 15 sounds great if we can complete that whole thing before the LPGA. That would be awesome. So I'm in favor of it. I'm excited about it. It's great.
Okay, I apologize. I jumped the gun here a little bit, didn't open the floor for public comment. If there's any, sorry, Jack.
I'll do it over again.
Oh, fantastic. I can't wait. Any public comments on this? Okay, seeing nobody, I now did that, so I'll close it. And Jack, we still remember your comments.
Ditto.
Okay. Bob?
The only question I had is on Rogue River. If you're going through Blythefield's property, where their maintenance shed is, that's all fenced in, or are they gonna move the fence back so you could get to the trail? How's that gonna work?
Actually, up at the top where we're going, it's not fenced up there. So we're gonna, part of our package with them is to do fencing along. When we walked that with the folks from LPJ and Blythefield last year, we agreed to put like a fence at the top there up by where there's a pond up there. I'm not sure how familiar you are with it. Yeah, so we're doing all new right there, 4-foot chain link fence, not some expensive white vinyl, so.
I'm good.
Okay, Steve?
I'm also excited about this trail. I like the circular event that it's gonna make. Won't have to ride all the way to Sand Lake or Howard City to get my, I can stay close. So I got one little petty question. Why South Rogue River? Why the word
You mean the
south?
name of it?
Yeah.
Because we did when we did this plan back in 2016, because there's a North Rogue River, that's why.
Okay,
It's
so
up
there's
by,
another one, another trail that's proposed in the
Yes.
future? Okay.
if you look at the non-motorized trails plan, I don't think I have that on here, but there's a North Rogue River, that's a better answer, it's up by Packer. If we ever do that through, with the county's property, Rogue River Park.
Okay, that explains it then. No, I'm all set, very excited about this.
Susan?
Also,
Okay, Kathy?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Frank?
Good.
I only have a quick question. Where this is on Rogue River, where all the LPGA traffic takes place, it's gonna go over the trail? All those buses, all those?
Yeah, just like all the bus traffic does, or traffic does at a driveway apron for commercial, whatever. It's like Rockford High School, we got the Rockford Trail that goes by there. So yeah, you're talking about their 3 entrances. Yeah, just like any normal sidewalk or other trail.
So maintenance of that would be a lot quicker than the rest of the trail, I'm assuming.
We're gonna maintain the trail wherever it's having issues.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher.
What's that?
Okay, so, Scott?
Oh, I was just gonna say, the nice thing about it is all those driveways are already paved, and so that protects the edges of that trail. The trails are set on a base of a really, we now use this aggregate called 21AA. I'm getting esoteric, I guess, but it's really good. It drains really well, and it holds up really strongly. The issue are the edges, and in this case, since the trail's paved on both sides, or the driveways are paved on both sides, it really does help protect the trail. If they weren't, we would have paved like 2 or 3 feet either side of the trail in the driveway.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you, Scott. Okay, so without any other comments, I guess we're looking for a motion here.
I move that the Township Board approve expenditure of non-motorized trails and recreational areas millage funds and award a contract to Dan's Excavating Services to construct the South Rogue River Trail in the amount of $2,246,643.25.
Thank you, Jack. Support?
Support.
And from Frank, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Pfaft?
Yes.
Mr. Remiga?
Yes.
Ms. Beatty?
Yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Yes.
Mr. Hagedorn?
Yes.
Mrs. Morrow?
yes.
Mr. McKellar, yes, and motion carries.
Okay, we've made it to item 10, which is Cameron's turn.
All right, I haven't done much talking tonight, and that's okay. So I'll try to keep it quick here too. Few items you may have noticed. There's some construction on Plainfield Avenue. A couple different projects. So the big one, the one we've been focused on, had a project shift today from working on the curbs and sidewalks to shifting the cones around to start working on the inside. So that was the original schedule. They've made that change, and so they'll, according to Jen, there's already some movement issues we're gonna bring to their attention that probably could be fixed a little bit. So we're working with them, but it is an MDOT project, so we do have to work within their safety parameters of what they determine the right setup for cones, so.
About how long will we be with this pattern?
This pattern is a number of weeks. I don't remember exactly what number of weeks, but I'm not getting any numbers from the back row either. But it's a number of weeks at this point. I know Chris has been tracking it for us and getting updates out to everyone very quickly. But really, MDOT's focus was to try to get the bulk of the work done before school started. I don't know if they will hit that target or not. Where they're at right now, they seem to be on track right now. But they really want to get this next segment done, which is where we're gonna start working on the medians and get that done over the next course of probably the next month here, then leading to the actual repaving of the road later in August. Really with a target of either, by start of school or by Labor Day, kind of in that window there. So there will be work continuing past that, but the bulk of the work will be done. And we should see less cones and less disruption at that point. The other piece of work on Plainfield Avenue, unrelated to that, is our force main work, which is further to the east, closer to Northland Drive. And that's coming along well. We had a good update from our engineer last week that they made the connections that are necessary. Things are going well. They got to get it buttoned up, but that was the other disruption. And if you have been down that part, you'll see that the Plainfield service drive was completely ripped up in certain areas, so that will get patched up too. So that work is coming along, and it'd be nice to get that disruption out of the way, especially for our staff that work out of that area that have had to deal with that for some time. So those projects are moving along. And as we move along, budget season is starting. So we just wrapped up the audit. It's time to roll from one to the next. We'll give Adam one day off between, I guess, before he starts rolling into budget. But that's our kind of our next focus here from a financial perspective, starting to look at the 26 projects and numbers. So as we've done for a number of years now, we seem to have a good rhythm of, we do a workshop in August where we focus on the operating expenses for the general fund. And those tend to be somewhat static. They tend to be very operational focused, staffing focused. So we'll work through that and talk through those numbers. And then the next session, which we usually do later in October, then we focus on the enterprise funds, so that's water and sewer funds, other funds like trails funds, sidewalk funds, and then the capital improvement projects. So we'll put that together. That rhythm kind of works nicely. We've moved the process up to August. We used to start later. We have to set our millage no later than, say, mid-September. If it's not by the first meeting in September, the county is calling Jeff for that number almost daily. So we'll have to make sure that we stay on that process so we can get our millage set, get that in place. And that's why we work on the general fund operating first. So we'll do that in August, and then we'll move to the next piece of it later in the fall. That also gives our staff a little more time to get the numbers solidified for capital projects, which are something that is a little bit more timely in terms of getting good quotes. So we'll work through that process, and we'll get those dates out to you. We've traditionally done what used to be the second meeting, so the fourth Monday in August, fourth Monday in October. So just kind of get that in your mental calendar right now. We talked about a number of things, including publication costs. If you have questions on that's really a state legislative issue. We pushed hard against it last time, but the newspaper lobby apparently was stronger than the local government lobby. There's still a lobby for
a
the
newspaper.
Yeah. So these kind of keep the print edition alive somehow. I don't know, but
The only thing keeping it going, too.
it's the only thing. I can't remember the last time I had a physical newspaper in my hands, but yeah, it's what's keeping it alive. I want to apologize to you. You had a comment tonight that disparaged the board, and I feel badly about that because Mr. Stover did send a letter. He had made a comment at the May meeting, and then followed that up with a letter that staff felt was substantially similar to the comments he made. We did not pass it along to the board because it did not seem to add any substance to his comments about his neighbor's shed. So that letter does exist. If you want to see a copy, we're happy to send it to you, but it's basically the same thing as he said at the meeting. He's upset about his neighbor's shed. There's the letter. So what Mr. Stover doesn't understand is that boards can't respond to letters. Individuals could, but he's asking for the board to respond to his letter. That's not a physical reality unless you want to sit here in a board meeting and start dictating letters to residents, which I don't advise. So my apologies to you on that one. apologize that that may have caught some people off guard. And then my last item, I see a member of our Parks and Rec committee in the back, so it just brought to mind that our Parks and Rec plan is nearing the final stages and will be presented to the board. So a lot of work has gone into that, from a staff perspective to doing community input and making sure that we've got a good Parks and Rec plan that reflects the desires of this community. So thank you to staff, thank you Parks and Rec Committee for all their work on these projects through the years. And you should be seeing that in the next couple of months. So that's all I have.
Okay, board comment time. Susan?
I have a couple things to catch up on. I did go over and drive Chauncey and take a look at Mr. Stover's concern, and the shed is in the woods. It's not visible very well from Chauncey, but it's definitely right up against the line. And I asked someone, I apologize for not knowing who I spoke with, but someone said here that they were working with him. So it's not that we're not doing anything.
Yeah, I missed that earlier too. We've been in regular communication.
bet.
Very, very, very regular communication with Mr. Stover on this issue, beyond weekly, almost to daily communication with him.
Well, I went around back through Leisure Village to see how much of a disturbance it was from that side, and neither one of them caused much concern. So another thing is that, believe it or not, I serve as the liaison to the Northview Senior Program, and surprisingly enough, it's been a whole year since we had a change in coordinators, and it's been an exciting year. There's been a lot of changes that Northview schools have put on to the operation of the program, but some things remain there. And just last week, a couple people went and were scoopers. Steve and Jack went and scooped ice cream for more than 100 seniors. And also, an ice machine has been installed in a room that only one person has a key to. We are very smart about that, because every time they go out on a trip, they're going to buy ice at different places and hauling bags of ice. So they can now make their own ice, and there's a refrigerator freezer there that they can stack it up too. There were 2 vacancies on the Northview Senior Advisory Board, and I was absolutely thrilled that there were people who were volunteering to serve on the board. The coordinator does have guidance from the members, and so they filled both of those vacancies, and both people said that they were eager to serve. Another subject is Mill Creek Days, August 8th and 9th, Friday and Saturday. Our fire department will be there. Jessica has been elected the hometown hero. She will be the master of ceremonies, she gets to ride in the front of the parade. There are lots of people. The organization for this project has changed significantly in the last couple of years, and I can honestly tell you that when you go to a meeting, things are accomplished, and it's very well organized. There are flyers and things. I apologize, I didn't have any handy, but I'll get some for each one of you, or I'll probably just email it to you. But there are bands, there are children's playthings, there's a craft fair, there's a parade on Saturday. The parade starts at noon, and it comes down West River Drive, and when it stops at the bridge, then Ben Green moves to the center of West River Drive and as it sings the national anthem for us all, a cappella. And those 2 days are full of a lot of exciting events for different people. We have a beer tent, and the funds are all going to an organization called Food Hugs, and it's an organization in Comstock Park that helps families make sure that they have food for their families. And the last thing I just wanted to mention is up on Columbine, I was telling Cameron, what a difference it is on the one end of the street with the other. The light posts that are up there are really attractive. And when you drive down Columbine, you can hear the road noise from the highway. But as soon as you enter this cul-de-sac where the light is gonna go, there was no sound. It's amazing how they've tucked it back into the woods enough. And one light seemed a little silly, but I think it's actually gonna be the conclusion of a really nice layout up there. So that's all, that's me. I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Steve?
Well, to follow up on Sue's comment about being a scooper, it was very enjoyable. I had a good time, 2 hours worth, even ran into a couple of my junior high teachers, and coaches, so.
Oh, that's
It was
fun.
good, so, I'm good.
Okay, Kathy?
I'm good.
Bob?
I missed an exciting event to be a scooper.
Yeah.
Hence all the bike riding I saw. Yeah. No, nothing more for me.
Okay, Frank?
All set.
Jack?
First of all, I have to praise Kyle's fire report. He probably doesn't get enough praise for that. Did a great job giving us that report, a lot of illustrations on it. The only other thing I have is, unfortunately, I asked them to move the U.S. Open Tennis Tournament so that I could go to the board meeting, and they did not allow that to happen. So I will be at the U.S. Tennis Tournament at the same time that we have our budget meeting in August. I'm very sad about that.
I can tell.
Thanks for sharing.
I want to thank everybody staff-wise. I mean, we've been lit up pretty good on social media lately. I'd imagine the phone's been ringing. Northview Schools did us a favor by changing their tax collection. Of course, that's all our fault. Anything that happens is Plainfield Township's fault, so, just like Plainfield Avenue. So, social media is a little rough right now. If you're thin-skinned, stay off it. So, that's all I got. Have a great night. We're adjourned.
Good job.